Talk Show. Recorded live.
Hey, everybody. Kiler, Davenport here on Alternative Public Radio International, coming to you live from Skype.com, on with my talk show co-host and star, Mr. Glenn Supfin, tonight. Yeah, what's up, Glenn?
Just recovering from this week.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm still recovering from that glitch in the system that almost put us out in the street. I'm still not even believing what happened there, but I've still got some glitches to go through even now, but I don't think they're going to be quite as extreme as what I went through last week. But boy, I'll tell you what, man, that was bad. That was bad. I said we were going to talk a little bit tonight. I didn't forget, believe it or not, with my dementia and all. I said we were going to talk a little bit about Jade Helm, and I pulled up my notes that I so diligently worked on in my research, and I thought it was very interesting because this deals not only with the military, but it also deals with the local police departments in your city, our city, my city, their city, and very, very interesting. They want to master the human domain. That's what this is all about. Jade Helm is about mastering the human domain. For all of you, any of you who don't know what Jade Helm is, it's an AI software system and the rise of artificial intelligence. It's basically an AI quantum computing technology that has the ability to use vast amounts of data collected on the human domain to generate a human terrain system. And you need to learn these words, y'all, if you want to get a note and take notes. Human domain to generate a human terrain system, using this system to locate and identify insurgents, rebels, and others. Geographical information gathered through Jade Helm. Whatever label can be flagged: rebel, terrorist, dissident, heretic, Christian, homosexual, whatever they choose at the time to be called a dissident in the AI program. They'll set up a global information grid in a network-centric warfare environment. I'll say that again. They will set up a global information grid in a network-centric warfare environment. Now, in this case, this global information grid is global, and we are talking about the United States. Us here in a network-centric warfare environment, that network-centric is going to be broken down into grids and vectors here in the U.S. And you will be in a certain grid or a certain vector, and you will be identified as such. If you want to read a really good book on this, John W. Whitehead has written a really good book. He's the founder of the Rutherford Institute. His new book is Battlefield America, The War on the American People. Really, really good book. I recommend it highly to all of you. This is all about, ladies and gentlemen, this is all about war on the people of Earth. Now that sounds pretty scary, but that's what this is all about. The war on people of Earth. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of war. And believe it or not, this is going on right now. Isn't it, Glenn?
Yeah, I've been covering it since I first learned about it before before it came out in the news of Jade Helm 15. So I've been following it for at least two and a half years.
Yeah.
And they also have Operation CONUS Base, which CONUS being the continental U.S., and that ties into it along with Land War Net and several others. I've uncovered on my own. So yeah, and it's basically to what they say, control the human domain. They control you, they label you, and they sub-label you, and then they sub-label you again, and they break it down, and I think it was Michio Kaku that was talking about, we're transitioning from a type 0 to a type 1 civilization, and he's pretty much a globalist, and he said, everybody that's against this is going to be rebels and going to be terrorists. And, they've already got it set. Well, if you're against this, you're a terrorist. Well, I'm against it, but, I see the point in some of it, but then the rest of it is like, well, why are you doing all this stuff? And then you go and look at the manuals and look at the agenda and the Smart Cities Initiative, which rolls into it with the militarization of the police. And it's everybody, it's not connected. And you look further up the chain and it's all connected under different programs. And they do that to tell you, well, that's not true. Oh, well, this isn't true. Oh, well, that's not true. And then you go find out that it is true. And then why did you say, oh, well, because we don't want you knowing about it. Because if you know about it, you can do something about it.
We know it's all connected. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
We know it's all connected. Yeah. Jade Helm technology will not be battles that are directed by a general. Some of my notes here are scrambled, so I know when you research, you get scrambled, so I get scrambled too. Jade Helm technology will not be battles that are directed by a general or a commander, but by a computer. Jade Helm is a network-centric, software-based AI program at the helm, at the Jade Helm. Jade Helm system capabilities uses vast sums of information collected on individuals, groups, populations, politicians, large geographical areas, countries. It dumps all of that information into a module called an HTA, Human Terrain Analysis Tool, which then analyzes the data to develop an HTS, Human Terrain System. Once established, it determines behavioral parameter norms for individuals. Let me say that again. Once established, it determines behavioral parameter norms for individuals, groups, population, centric areas, etc., etc., etc. This establishment has been called the human domain, can identify, eliminate, or extract perceived threats or targets based on deviations from the norms. Now, this is very, very significant. I want to read that one more time. The establishment has been called the human domain. It can identify, eliminate, or extract perceived threats or targets based on deviations from the norms. Now, this is what AI does. This is all about AI because this is the way robots work. They work by perceiving threats based on deviations from the baseline. I'm calling it the baseline. And police are starting to be able to act in the same way. Military starting to act in the same way. And as Glenn said earlier, they'll put you in a certain category, and if you deviate from the norm, you will be eliminated. Jade Helm can also examine the human terrain system over time, which is what they're doing now, using remote sensors, both audio and visual, as well as real-time communication monitoring and other types of HTA tools to change or rewrite its program parameters in a particular human domain. Now get that. A computer can rewrite its own program parameters in a particular human domain at any one given time in space and place. Information is stored in Prodigy module, which is actually the battle planning suggestion module, which can be retrieved at any time for any intended purpose for any general or executive administrator in the field. This is a knowledge-based system. It's data-driven mixed initiative or military civilian application. It is able to generate and deploy complex battle plans in seconds versus hours, days, or weeks. Glenn, what do you think about that?
Yeah, and they programmed it to learn, which is their, what you just said, changing its parameters, and it learns from its mistakes, and if it also learns if it doesn't make a mistake to change itself, and then it starts writing its own programming that we can't communicate with it because we don't know the language, we can't figure it out, and then if it is pretty much becoming sentient, and we're going to get into the Terminators soon. I mean, it's, they basically just built Skynet and said, hey, here it is, just gave it a different name. And, we've been living under it. This isn't really new. I mean, everybody, Jade Helm 15, this is new. They've been doing this for at least since the 60s. I mean, that I found out that it's one program after another was like Echelon and then Prism. And, I mean, they've got everything networked, and it's, we put it all in a computer, and more of these AIs come out. They go, we should put humans in a zoo. And pretty soon the machines are going to be running everything. I mean, they're already automating everything now, and they say they're taking jobs away, but they weren't really taking the jobs away. They just pushing it to, the robots are doing it. The robots are doing it. Before the robots, it was the immigrants were doing it. The immigrants were doing it. The illegals are doing it. And so it's just another. We're going to get AI. We're going to have computers thinking for us. We're already doing it. I mean, I'm talking on one now and holding it up to my ear. And I got one on the side of my house called a smart meter that controls the house and tells everybody when you're not using enough energy or when you're using too much, and alerts people. So it's the same thing. We've been spied on since, I'm going to say since the 70s, because that's when I started picking up on it. So, to think that this is something new is kind of not really worth it, because, I mean, ever since the telegraph, they've been tapping the lines. So, the minute they get a technology, somebody comes out with a way to backdoor it and sneak into it, and they incorporate it in. So they watch and monitor everything. So,
Here's the new and cool part right here that's coming into play with Google. It can create holographic combat battlefield simulations on the fly, baby, on the fly. The deployment or battle planning starts with the receipt of a mission statement, which is then run through a CBR program, case-based receiving module, to produce an ACO, which is an adaptive course of action. The word adaptive course of action is all run by AI, not by human beings. Adaptive is the key in all of this. What is adaptive? It adapts itself to the changing human domain. It adapts its plans on changing terrain of human activity with information that has been gathered over many, many years. Definition of human activity: communications, all financial transactions, travel patterns, behavioral patterns, emotions. This system can read and measure all human emotions and social media content in nanoseconds. Activity can change rapidly in a crisis, event, or warfare scenario. This program is able to rewrite its own COA, course of action, on the fly within nanoseconds. The system has total awareness, even in a rapidly changing environment. There is no real central data collection point. Huge data dump centers like the one in Bluffdale, Utah data center connected to the global information grid is the central point of origin. There are many other central points of origin that are completely top secret. The MITRE Corporation developed JADE, MAS, VA, States Format, Force Management Module for this system used to support knowledge acquisition, data collection, NSA performing on everyone, not just identified threats, but all American citizens and people around the globe. Concept equals government perceives American people as greatest threat and will use a computer-driven military clamp to clamp us down. Patriots classified as terrorists. Puppet government will be deemed patriots to be protected. PARCA, able to handle extremely complex structured queries against large knowledge bases or databases, data dumps. Boy, this just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, folks. And as Glenn said, this has been going on for a long, long time, right under our noses, and we haven't done anything about it. And I don't think that we are going to do anything about it. Matter of fact, I know we're not going to do anything about it.
We haven't done anything about it. I mean, the thing is, they keep telling people like, that you and I are conspiracy theorists or nut jobs or tinfoil hat wearing people, and that seems to satisfy most of the public. They go, oh, well, it's just a theory. It's not real. Don't worry about it. Even when you produce thousands of white pages on the thing saying what they're going to do, you produce manuals from the people themselves stating, Brzezinski, he had the Technotronic Age book that he put out, and nobody, don't worry about it. It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. That's just what's coming. And, I've been telling people since '87 about this when I joined the information war. It's like, no, there's stuff out there that is, it's not classified. You just don't look at it. And, I started looking up stuff, and, I found out years ago about Echelon, and that started me on everything that, and it led to Jade Helm. It led to, Opcona Space. It led to huge numbers of stuff that don't seem connected, but then when you start looking, it's like this manual goes with this manual, goes with this manual, goes with this manual, and when you start looking at the index and seeing all the manuals, it's like, holy shit. Every military base is a hub. I mean, I know Fort Dix is a big hub in the structure, and because I helped wire up part of that in one of the war rooms up there. So, I'm a little bit familiar with that system, but, as part of they call it FEMA camps. So there's a big FEMA camp in Fort Dix. There's actually two of them in Fort Dix, and they're on the map. But it's a conspiracy theory. It's like, no, it says prisoner of war. I was in the fucking camp. I know what it is. And people, they don't know anything. It's like, people drive by it all the time and take pictures of it. If it's a structure and it's there, it's not fake. I don't care what you say about it's just a theory. Well, there is the evidence of it. Fuck you. I'm tired of people telling, it's just a theory. It didn't happen. They haven't put us in FEMA camps. They don't need to. The whole of the United States is a FEMA camp.
We're already in a FEMA camp.
Yeah. We're living in the reservation, people. We don't, you have to have a passport to leave the place. Now they want interstate travel. You have to have your papers. There's no need for all this shit.
No.
Other than they want to control everything we do, everything we say, every breath we take. They want to tell us when we can fart, when we can shit. I don't need all that. I had a mommy and daddy, and they raised me, and, I grew up.
Well,
I don't need to be coddled, but it's here. Then what are we going to do about it?
We're not going to do a damn thing about it. We're not going to do a damn thing about it. What you said earlier was interesting, that it's all right there in front of you, but people fail to look it up. That's the kicker right there. See, Jade Helm already knows this. Jade Helm
Yeah.
already has all this figured out. They know who's researching, they know who's reading, they know who's studying, they know who's analyzing, they know who's intelligent, they know who's smart, they know who knows how to research and those that don't, so they know there's enough people that don't, so they don't have to worry about it. They just keep building, they keep progressing, and the American people get lazier and dumber and more stupid and more foolish by the day, and they keep dumbing us down with all of their other scientific projects and programs, including Monsanto and fluoride and big pharma and chemtrails and HARP and DARPA and this and that and the other, and it just works perfectly for them because they don't have to worry. We're not going to research anything. We're not going to have a revolution. We're not going to hit the streets running. So they don't have to worry. We're basically guinea pigs. We're basically being experimented on of our own free will, our own free will.
Yeah, and then they say, oh, well, you need this. And, oh, now you need more vaccines because your immune system isn't, God didn't invent an immune system. We got to give you immunity. And then the stuff they jack into you is just that, jacked up and has chemicals to kill you, dumb you down, and keep you docile, messes up your DNA, makes it so you can't reproduce. And they've done a great job. They screwed the human race for a good long while, and if we come back, it'll be a miracle. But I'm fighting for the people still that are still half cognitive, don't have cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome to this shit. So, and I'm finding that it's not that many people really, because some of them, all you got to do is, I don't like this and I don't like that. And they, oh, okay, I'll follow you. And
well, all you got to do is take a small sample. All you got to do is take a small sample on your Facebook page, and that'll give you an idea of who's cognitive dissonance and who's Stockholm syndrome. Most of the people there are just full of bullshit. They post and post and post and post and post. And let me ask you, Glenn, for what? For what? I want to know the answer. For what? I've asked it all day on Facebook. What? What are you posting for? For what? What are you trying to save the day? What are they doing? What do they think they're doing?
Virtual signaling. They're going, oh, look, I posted something. I'm really good. I'm a keyboard warrior. Hey, I'm fighting for this stuff. I post all this stuff. Well, then where are you at the marches? Well, I don't want people knowing that I'm this way, and you know, oh well, it'll mess up my reputation and blah blah blah. But I can post about it all day on Facebook, but I won't go out and do anything about it. I won't go to the rallies, and you know, it's like, so they're just virtual signaling and how many popularity contests too. See how many likes they can get. See how many people they can. Some of them are scam artists. See how many people they can scam into believing they're
now
crap.
Think about if you were Jade Helm, how much would you love what you just told me? How much?
I fully understand the Jade Helm principle because you know, it works great. You put out a little bit of disinformation, feed it to the rest of the world, it goes viral, and you got plausible deniability to do what you want. You know, you can do the exact opposite of what you say you're going to do, and everybody, oh, well, they said they were doing this, and that's what they're doing because they believe the lies. And then when somebody comes out with the truth, they've already tainted the system so much with all the lies that you go, oh, that must be a lie, because they wouldn't have the government wouldn't lie to me. They'll tell us on TV what they're going to do, and they come on and have like some window dresser get on the news and, oh, this is what it is. Here's my boobs. Look at me. I'm pretty. Blah blah blah. And this is what they say. Blah blah blah. And everybody, blah 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 blah. And somebody goes, no, that's not what it is. Shut up, heretic! Stone them. So the truth doesn't go. The truth doesn't go over as well as viral bullshit. And I'm just finding that out. You know, we'll just take another example: the Fed book security psyop that I've been covering, that I just posted about again. That a simple search term in a search box, you type in Facebook security, and you'll find every agent on the planet that's with Facebook. It's a simple search parameter. People don't remember the search box is the same code on Google all over the fucking internet, but you put the little block button next to it, and it automatically becomes a magical thing, but only on FedBook. Because if you typed in Facebook security in Google, you'll find a bunch of shit too, but you'll find everything that says Facebook and everything that says security, because all it's doing is looking for that parameter. But people don't realize this because they've been told, oh, you'll find all these FedBook security officers if you do this, and you can't block some of them. And, you know, people start blocking. Well, I can't block this one. Well, after you block somebody, after like 10 people start blocking somebody, it kicks in an algorithm that person can't be blocked.
Right.
That's a security feature they have. And then, but the disinformation is, well, that means that they're a high-level federal agent and you can't do anything against them. And then you have to be paranoid. And most of these people just put Facebook security in their profile to fuck with people. And, you know, oh, well, you're in the list and you're in the list. And then people tell me, oh, I tried to block you. You must be Facebook security because I can't block you anymore. I'm like, yeah, because 100 of you probably tried to block me and it booted the system up so that I can't be blocked.
Yeah.
Keep going. More people keep trying to block me. Keep trying to block me. I'll never be off the thing. Nobody will be able to touch me. Yeah, nobody will be able to touch me. Keep it coming. Come on. Yeah. You're stupid. You don't remember first grade, kindergarten, when they taught you what a search bar was for and how it works. It's the same code all over the internet. It does nothing magical. It doesn't find federal agents, because if you type in federal agents, you'll find federal agents too, but only the term federal and agent. And, oh, that's not how it is. You know, it's like, I know what a real FedBook employee's page looks like, and what's coming up is not FedBook employees. I know how to find them. You don't do it that way. I did it that way at first, and it was like, well, wait a minute. These people aren't anything but shills and posers, and you might find an occasional cop on there, undercover, or just you know, plain, you know. But by and large, they don't need to put FedBook security in their profile. They'll just go to the server and read the server. They don't even need your password. Everything's stored on the server, and all they got to do is access the server.
Well, they're not going to
oh, it ain't that way. It ain't that way. It's like, it is that way. I mean, I've dug through the manuals. I've read their fucking books on the thing that they publish, which nobody reads. And then when I show everybody this is the book, I get 1 like. But I post up there something stupid, and I get 100 likes. You know, it's like, if it's stupid, it goes worldwide. If it's the truth, it doesn't leave the door. So.
Looking at my notes here, something scary. This system is self-reactive, which that in itself should scare the hell out of everybody. The system is self-reactive and self-adaptive and self-modeling. Now, that's 3 dangerous words right there. Self-reactive, self-adaptive, and self-modeling. Program for predictive force deployment. It can predict conflicts before they occur and react in a preemptive manner. It thinks in the present, but can predict future events or human activity. These conflicts are not confined to a warfare scenario, but can be used in cities and counties. The predict and preempt capabilities can also be applied to scenarios of social unrest. Jade Helm can make high-level trade determinations, makes decisions concerning casualties and targets in line with the overall mission objective. It has total command and control in an information-intensive society and cannot be overridden by generals in the field. From a military, where did I find that word? From a military standpoint, the term command has a legal or behavioral standard of actions performed or not performed by military officers by which later they can be held accountable. Under Jade Helm, they cannot be held accountable because all of the actions are being done by a machine. The Jade Helm displaces that standard from individual commanders and places itself in total command and control over land, sea, air, space, and cyberspace is how they will master the human domain.
Yeah, that's just fancy words for saying that the thing is sentient.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's self-aware, it's self-programming, it has become sentient, and the machine said that we had to do this. And it's a great cop-out because, the machine told us to do it. We're just following orders. The machine told us to do it.
Listen to
Instead
this.
of, the president said it, somebody can remove the president, but the machine told us to do it. Okay. We can't do anything about the machine because we programmed it, and then it learned on its own and reprogrammed itself. So we don't know what it's doing. Well, we're following its orders anyway.
I'm fixing to tell you what it's doing, and it's just what you're saying. It can perform machine interpretation of the commander's intent. Now, did you get that?
And when it becomes the commander, which it already is, the commander's intent's whatever the machine wants to do. And if the machine says, I'm tired of humans, let's have a nuclear war, we'll go to nuclear war. It's that simple because we've lost that part of our brain that's been bred out of us that thinks and has common sense and goes, why do we want to go to war? There's no real conflict, but the machine told us, and if our machine doesn't do it, their machine will. And it all becomes battle robots. And we ought to have robot wars. It would be a lot easier. Have Russia build a robot, have America build a robot, and they battle it out. And the winner is whoever wins. But no, they can't be that simple. They go, we got to have all mass carnage, and we got to dupe the humans into fighting. And there's really no need for half the wars we have, other than somebody wants land or more money or control of the resources or
resources. Resources.
I mean, I've been so busy watching Agenda 21 in America that I forgot that it mainly starts in Australia. Australia has been like 10, 15 years ahead in the Agenda 21 business.
Oh yeah.
And I was looking and I was like, well, wait a minute, I just shared a video of Beyond 2000, which was released in the 80, 85, 86 or something like that, and they were talking about Agenda 21 in Australia before the Rio Earth Summit, specifying that Agenda 21 was, and it was like, and then I started looking further, and now they're like Australia 2065. That's
in Australia. Australia's been last in everything else. The Pygmies almost beat Australia. If it wasn't for just a little twist of fate, the Pygmies would be running Australia and not the Australians and the Chinese.
And it might be a better place.
And it would be a much better place if the Pygmies were running Australia. They've banned the Pygmies from cities there in Australia. They've put them back, and thrown them completely away and discard them like trash, like we do trash.
Well, or like we did the Native Americans. We put them scoot them to a reservation, take over the land, and hey.
If it wasn't for China, Australia wouldn't even have a writing system. They wouldn't have shit. I don't want to get started on the Aussies, though. They've already come down on me pretty hard already. This Jade Helm system sits on a global information grid, which is a flexible, scalable, dynamic architecture in order to support multilateral civilian and military operations. The process of sense-making in complex human endeavors, this approach uses a set of cognitive constructs that translates tacit knowledge to the focal knowing of the objective world from the computer, accomplishing this by mapping your mind. They are creating these maps by using all of the information that is being collected on everyone in every aspect of their life around the world. As we now are on this talk show, it is happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's called macrocognition. Macrocognition, the process the system uses to dissect the human behavioral process. It is a cognitive and adaptive learning functional system. This function allows it to predict intent from individuals, enemy or civilian. It can predict intent of an adversary or target, as well as predict a range of behaviors of those targets which might or might not happen. It does this instantaneously. I wouldn't give these notes to the Pope, but I'm going to give them to you after the show so you can use them in your writing. It took me months to put all this together. I've got several pages here that are just unbelievable. People really just do not understand what is going on here. And I can't figure out why, besides all of the things we've talked about, the fluoride in the water and the pharmaceuticals and all the other stuff we could go over and over and over. We are really to the point of no return. We are dumbed down so bad here in America and around the world that it's really scary. And you wonder, there's a question, big question is, why aren't the ones doing this to us dumbed down? Now, that's a question that hasn't been answered and I don't think can be answered. But I'm not dumbed down, so I could use myself as an example. I grew up eating organic food, drinking organic milk, living off of organic land. Now, I don't know if that have anything to do with the elites now, if they did the same thing, but I was obstructed from eating anything processed when I was young. I grew up on breast milk. I grew up on hen eggs, organic hens, organic hen eggs, organic hogs, organic gardening, well water from the artesian well. I think this had a lot to do with my brain, how it turned out. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, they said, kids that play in the dirt are a lot healthier than the kids that only stay inside. And because, you got dirty. Oh, no. Dirt had the minerals because now it's been leached out with all the chemtrails and them spraying smart dust and the aluminum, the barium, all the crap they put in the air. And they've done a good job of dumbing us down. I mean, I wasn't organic when I was growing up, but then I noticed something too. Some people, they put the stuff in them, they dumb them down. Others, they put the stuff in them, it heightens their awareness. It does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. And you see the ones that are mostly awake are like this new race because they've been hit with all this shit and they've come through it. I would say not unscathed, but changed because their DNA has changed, their structure has changed. And when you start messing with the DNA and the infrastructure in there, you'll get what I'm terming retards. You'll get people that are stunted growth, that are dumbed down, the retarded people. And then you get these super people that they can't do anything with, and they watch the hell out of those people because they're afraid of them, because sooner or later the system's going to tip, and it's going to be these people that they had no control over that are going to start rising up. And it's like, whoa. And the more they keep jacking with stuff, the more they create these superhumans, basically, that they're basically immune to stuff that you throw at them, or you throw stuff at them and it makes them better. And they can't deal with that, so the machines know this too. That's why they watch a lot of individuals because they're not following the programming. What's wrong with them? And you know, they were called I think Russia had a program, the super soldiers, where they would microchip people, and then they found out that you know. And their genetics were like, well, some of them were, but the other ones were like, and it happens. I mean, the genetics, you know, if you study genetics, you're going to have those X factors in there that'll produce a better race, but then the majority of them will be killed off, but then there's super race, and that's what the elites want, are the super race, and they don't take the jacked up vaccines. They take the clean vaccines. They have special, I mean, Monsanto has organic gardens that their employees can eat and everything and not eat the bullshit, but they give the bullshit to the rest of the people. So what you were saying, you know.
Yeah, their
organic,
cafeteria was under scrutiny there for a while, wondering if that was the same kind of food that the rest of the commoners eat. And the answer is no.
No.
It's
the elite have the organic, or the shipped in from places where they don't spray. And you know, they do all.
Well,
we're rich, we can afford it.
Underground bases have
they have their own grow centers.
Massive grow centers. Yeah, beautiful.
And the artesian wells and the water table down there where they can get clean water, not jack. And now they're putting all this fracking shit under the water table to infect the water table.
Yeah,
it's like everything has to be infected. And, you know, the Georgia Guidestones said they only want, 500 million?
500 million.
That's it? That's it? You know, what are they going to do with the, 8 billion other people on the planet? Well, they're going to kill them. You know, they've already done it. They've already jacked with us so much that people are dying from cancer, dying from shit we don't even know about. And, you know, they've done a great job at killing the planet. And
I have a lot of people ask me why this doesn't look like some sci-fi movie yet. And I told them, well, because they're not ready yet. They're doing fine just like they're doing, and they're not ready to make it look like a sci-fi movie yet, where the robots are coming over the, you know, stepping on the skyscrapers, and ETs are flying down beyond the sun and all that. So that's not yet. That's not yet. That's not here yet. That's another 25 years away. Right now, they're just gathering information, running Jade Helm. I traced all of this shit down to Raytheon, BBN Technologies. It took me a long time to trace it back to from what I was looking at wasn't taking me in the right direction. I had to change directions and trace this all down to Raytheon and BBN Technologies, which is one of Raytheon's premier research facilities and development centers there in Maryland, if you're familiar with them.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar.
They're working on bandwidth extenders, on cellular wireless architecture network, loss of wireless connection on cell phone in certain area, allocation of your signal to the main system, and then everything through BBN Technologies. They're tying everything into the global information grid. They're the ones that are tying all of these cameras together and all of this spying, tracking, tracing, and profiling information together. Another command and control problem system is designed to handle the system removes the administrative delay in the kill chain. Now, this is interesting. This is interesting here. The system removes the administrative delay in the kill chain. Now, what would the administrative delay be? That would be like emotions. It has no moral compass whatsoever, no empathy whatsoever, and no regrets whatsoever. The system has none of that. Program intended to achieve full dominance of cyberspace, cyber power, cyber strategy. This capability will continue to evolve even through key technical, social, information trends begin to stabilize. So it's going, it's moving as we speak. It's working its way into and through our systems. This program will capitalize on social engineering. Here we go, social engineering, Sociology 101. This program will capitalize on social engineering for offensive, civilian, and military operations. This is a technical approach to the tactics employed in Nazi Germany by the Stasis, brown shirts, and the SS. It has a sophisticated decision support system for crowd control. This machine is going to be an integral part of Jade's deployment on the civilian population. The hardware that is running on isn't your run-of-the-mill supercomputer running thousands and thousands and thousands of processors on a single chip. This system develops virtual models based on repetitive types of crimes that can predict future crimes that have not yet been committed by either individuals or groups in the civilian operation area, and then execute a preemptive strike or course of action. This is Minority Report's pre-crime technology.
Yep. Yeah, they've already been using that because, I think they rolled it out in L.A. is where I first found it and heard about that one was, we're using predictive technology to predict before people are going to commit crimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we just go arrest them because, the computer said they were going to commit the crime. So
Of course.
And there it is. The computer said, we're just following orders. The computer said to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Taking all the emotion, all the, predict. And if the machine is wrong? Well, the machine's never wrong. Mm-hmm. What if the machine is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
There's no response to that because, it's never wrong, and if it's wrong, so what? Yeah.
I had to tell my producer to get me something for my head. My head's coming off, man.
Yeah.
My head is coming off.
Yeah, I've had 3 seizures this week. One this morning. Yeah.
So organizing. Here's a couple of words for you. Jade, and we are on the radio, yeah, so I guess we could talk to our fans too. Hello, fans. How are you doing? Good to be here. By the way, speaking of fans, it is 6:46 p.m. on March the 30th, 2017, the year of our Lord, whoever that is. Sum up Jade Helms. Jade Helm is self-organizing. Okay, this is scary. Jade Helm is self-organizing, vision-capable, expectation-capable, recognition-capable, situationally aware, totally and completely aware of its environment, emotional, intelligent, goal-oriented system. The system thinks, plans, and executes. Remember emotional behavior, physical behavior, activity behavior outside of the norm identifies targets because the machine can think like a human with no fear. F-E-A-R. I capitalized.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody said, it's not sci-fi. It sounds like a sci-fi movie already.
It sounds like a sci-fi movie already.
That sounds like Skynet. I mean, it can't be reasoned with. It can't be destroyed. You can't outthink it.
My deepest notes here. I'm a researcher from hell. I dug this out of the deepest ocean. And here it is, right in front of us. We're on the air breaking tonight with some brand new updates on Jade Helm, and it does sound like a sci-fi movie. Glenn's right. It sounds like something out of your wildest fricking nightmare.
I mean, only thing I would rather have the aliens come in. At least that would be something cool and different, At least I could go, it wasn't human then. It was, it was the aliens did this. So it gives kind of a, I'm waiting for somebody to remove their mask on stage and go, we're aliens. It makes sense now. Because, humans couldn't do that. Everybody judges everybody by what they would do. and not by because everybody thinks that everybody has the same heart as them, the same feelings and emotions. And there are some fucked up people out there that it just doesn't hold to that. You might not hit somebody, but somebody else will go out and kill somebody for nothing. And why? I don't see how they could do that. That's because you have empathy. You can still think. A lot of these people can't think and don't have any empathy. So
there's one thing I noticed. One thing I picked out from this. My notes go on and on and on and on and on, by the way. There's one thing I picked out that's interesting. I found a flaw in the system. Out of all of my research, I found a flaw in the system, and I wrote it down in red. It says Jade Helm is counting on negative emotions to respond. It appears that the system responses are targeted by negative emotions. In red. So, if there is some way that you could throw the system off if it was targeting you externally by having happy thoughts, positive thoughts, if you could disconnect yourself temporarily from the chaos that's going on like a Buddhist monk, you could escape the system. It would pass you right by. How would you do that?
Probably by meditating.
It thrives on negative emotions. That's what it lives on. That's what it eats. Is negative emotions.
Yeah, so that sounds almost like a cyst.
I would advise everyone to study meditation.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, here we go. ARSF SOF 2022, the future of Army SOF. That one you should look up because that also goes with Conus Base and Jade Helm. That's one of the newer things that have come out because it says optimizing Conus Base Mosaic Efforts Group. I had that in one of my info dumps, and it's the new Army Spec Ops Command forward-looking blueprint for change. Envisions a complex, ill-structured operational environment with increasing fiscal and asset constraints that potentially restrict our nation's ability to act, allowing greater freedom of actions for our adversaries. And then they go on about how they're implementing all this stuff. And it was another one that I had found with my research because I do a lot of info dumps and people don't read the info dumps because, I list 100 articles and nobody wants to look through 100. Yeah, they don't want to look through.
Oh, I do.
But I know researchers do because I've already gone through and looked up and thrown out the bullshit. And some of the stuff I throw out that's bullshit might not be bullshit, but I try to, only
keep it clean, keep it clean.
Keep it to what I can, like, the Army said this. Well, here it is from Army.mil, and only from Army.mil, not from CNN, not from, I go straight to the source and go, here's the article. Here's their blueprint. And, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, if that's what a conspiracy theorist is, I hope I'm a good one because that's all I do. And, I like I said, I've researched. People would tell me, there is no such thing as epsilon. It's like back in the 70s. There's no such thing as epsilon.
Isn't it about time? Isn't it about time this word kind of played itself out? Conspiracy theory. I think it's going to play itself out pretty soon. I think it's time.
Well, I've got a doctorate in it. I mean, I went so far. I've got a doctorate in conspiracy theories. I studied the theories and questioned the conspirators. Yes, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
I think the word is going to play itself out or change. I think people are
It'll change.
up.
I think that it's going to change because more people say conspiracy theories. Everybody looks at it, and all these conspiracy theories are starting to turn out to be true.
Well, yeah.
And, it's like, oh, well, conspiracy theory is a new word for truth then. It's.
I mean, if the audience wants to go on Google, they can just Google conspiracy theories that have come true in the last 25 years, and there it is for you to read. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, I posted top 7, and people, oh, well, I didn't know this. It's like, yeah, it's true. Yes,
Yeah.
HARP exists. I can point to it on a map. I went to the HARP Research Center and downloaded their documents and put them up on the internet. It's like, yeah, oh, well, it's conspiracy theory. Yeah. They started it in 67, conspiracy theory, because they knew I needed a title.
I'll tell you
I was
something
born
that
in
I know.
67. Yeah.
I'll tell you something that I know for sure, and I'm not going to go into how tonight, but if you'll look at Bluffdale, Utah, and do a little background on Bluffdale, Utah, what's going on there in those underground cities in Maryland, those fusion data collection centers, they've got massive storage facilities underground there that run the gamut from the United States there across from the East Coast to the West Coast. They've got massive cities underground that are 6, 7, 8 stories deep, and they're running everything from down there. You don't think they're going to be stupid enough to run that kind of stuff on the surface of the planet, do you?
No.
They're running that.
They're in hardened bunkers underground where they can take like Cheyenne Mountain and several others.
Well, Bluffdale, Maryland.
Yeah, I live about
Colorado.
2 miles. I live 2 miles from the Fusion Threat Center here in Virginia, in Richmond. It's disguised as a state police headquarters, but it's the Fusion Threat Center, and there's a Fusion Threat Center in Fort Dix. So, because Fort Dix is one of the hubs, and when everything goes down, all these hubs are going to stay up. The internet's not going down. They're not taking the internet away from the military. They're not taking the internet away from Congress. They're taking the internet away from the civilians.
Yeah. Because
it started out as the military background, that network of ARPANET, and which was and MilNet, and and then they combined all of it, and then they put they did a mistake by letting internet out to the people, and now they're like, oh well, we should have done that, but it's too late, and now we have to regulate it, and it's too late, because all the hackers and everything are.
Well, there was a new bill signed. There was a new bill signed this week concerning internet privacy, and I can't really remember what it was all about, but
I've heard two different things about that net neutrality thing, because I'm not for net neutrality.
That's what it was.
I'm not for net neutrality, and first they have to regulate it, and then they say no, don't regulate. It's another black and white issue that this person says this, well, that person says that, and it's going to kill our access to the internet, and Obama did such a great job by putting net neutrality in, and it's all bullshit. It's they just need to shut the hell up and leave the stuff alone.
Yeah.
But then there again, they can't control the human domain if you have access to information that they can't control. So I see it coming in. All of it is going to be to control the internet so that we can control the hearts and minds of the slaves.
It seems to me like they're a little bit behind on all these plans, personally, just from my standpoint. I don't know what could have held them up. Well, you got to think there isn't just one faction of the Dark Cabal. There's 2 or 3 factions in there that are fighting for control. Well, there's more than that, but yeah, I see your point.
But at the top, there's only,
and
you got people that want to destroy. Yeah, you got people that want to destroy the world and totally do away with humans. You got people in there that want to control the humans but let them have some freedom. And you got the ones that say no, the people, and they're all inner fighting, and they can't get together to order a pizza. I mean,
yeah.
And they're all fighting, and different factions are fighting, and people don't realize that. They go, oh, the Illuminati is evil. Only after Weishaupt it. It was, the Illuminati existed before Weishaupt. It existed after Weishaupt. Everybody, well, the Dark Cabal was started by Weishaupt, the Bavarian Illuminati. Well, what happened, pre the Bavarian Illuminati? The Illuminati existed. I'm Illuminati. I'm self-illuminated. I'm self-aware. I'm part of that, but I'm not part of the Dark Cabal. I'm. You got different factions.
Well, and there again. These words are just words. I mean,
yeah, they're words. And
there's no devil with a tail running around with horns, spiking everybody and sacrificing kids on the altar, and stabbing women. And I mean, there may be some of that stuff going on. Hallelujah, Hopi, whatever. But as far as that being connected with the cabal, it's not.
It's a red herring. I mean, people go, oh well.
That's a diversion.
Yeah.
It's just a diversion from reality. The fact is, you have powerful men, just like you go back 7,000 years. Oh, I'm out of breath and I haven't done anything. You go back 7,000 years and you look at tribes, look at hunter-gatherers, and look at how we formed tribes. Look at how they formed tribes. Look at how they formed bands. Look at how they formed chiefdoms. Look at how chiefdoms became states, and you look at the history and read the history of food production, and I'm not going to get into a history class tonight, but you look at the history of food production and domesticating plants and animals, and you'll see how tribes went from tribes to bands, from bands to chiefdoms, and from chiefdoms to states. And then you'll
not just chiefdoms. You have fiefdoms too. I mean, Israel is a fiefdom,
and then you look at how states went rogue, and then every state has gone rogue. So you look at the state we have today has gone rogue. It's no big deal. I don't want to hear all about Satan and demons and pitchforks and horns and tails and all that silly fucking shit. I'm sick and tired of hearing all that shit. I get off of any group that starts talking about that shit. It's just human nature is what it is, folks. It's human nature.
Yeah. You don't need evil. Evil exists because humans are,
Well,
somebody doesn't like somebody else.
We just like to do shit. Do shit. You got a button in front of me, I'm going to push it. You got a lever in front of me, I'm going to pull it.
According to the Bible, Cain and Abel. I mean, two brothers, and one of them killed the other. Where'd that come from? Did the devil make him do it?
Right.
No, human nature made him do it.
Yeah, and there again, we're not sure about the Bible, of course. We don't want to get into that tonight,
So
but,
I'm just stating,
no idea.
As a literature piece, well, even back then, it started at the very beginning of time. So, according to the Bible. So, and if you really read the Bible, Satan's allowed to come and go in heaven.
Yeah.
So him and God had a deal about Job. So come on, people.
It's all so crazy. I don't want to. It's all so crazy.
It is bullshit. I mean,
for adults.
You got good humans, and you got bad humans. I mean, like I tell you, oh, it's a black issue. Oh, it's a white issue. Shut up, white person. It's like, no, it's a fucking human issue.
Well, I've been with enough women. I've been with enough preachers' daughters to know that good can turn from bad in one nice evening in bed.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I've had
both
very
evil and good. Humans are both evil and good. We possess all of the capabilities to be whatever we want to be, whenever we want to be it, however we may have been strung along to be it. So I have a very diabolical mind, and I like to test people. And I've tested women, and I've tested men. And you can dig the shit out of people's brains. You just have to know how to do it. You can dig the shit out of people's brains. They might come across as good. They might come across as sweet. But believe me, just dig a little bit down below the surface and see what you find in there.
Oh, yeah. We're all good and evil inside. It's just which one you feed the most. It's just which one you feed the most is the one that comes out. And we all wear masks.
That's why I
So,
don't like to say it's them against us, because it's not. It's not them against us. It's us against ourselves, and we have to figure that out for ourselves. How do we straighten that dilemma out? It's us against ourselves. Those people are us. The so-called Illuminati are us. Only they're us without. We don't have any money. We don't have any power. We don't have the ability to scramble up $1 trillion worth of eggs overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, everybody goes, it's society's fault. It's society's fault. It's society's fault. Who's society?
We are society.
We are society. So what you're saying is it's our fault. We can fix it.
Of course.
No. That's not what I meant. It's like society is everybody but you. And it's that mentality that I'm trying to get through. It's like, no, it's not a black or white issue. It's a human issue. And since humans made the problem, humans can fix it.
Let's go back to history, 7,000 years. All of these elite groups grew out of what? They grew out of power. One guy was bigger than the other guy. It's real simple history, real simple PhD history. One guy was bigger than the other guy, and he took over the tribe. Another guy was bigger than that guy, and he took over the band. And then 3 or 4 other guys were bigger than those guys, and they took over the chiefdom. And 5 or 6, 7, 8 other guys were bigger, and they took over the state. And those states continued to run. They were taken over by other states, rogue states. Those states were taken over by other rogue states. And today you have the United States of America Incorporated. It's that fucking simple. That fucking simple. There's no other way to look at it. And the elites are elite because they have money and they've come from a bloodline in most cases. And bloodlines rule, baby. Bloodlines rule. I don't care what you say. Bloodlines rule. So there you go. You know, we could knock out 9/10 of the conversation on talk shows if we would just say that.
Yeah.
We'd have to figure out, well, what do we do now? What do we talk about now? We're them.
Pretty much.
We're them without money.
When it comes down to that, then people start shutting up because they can't, when you point your finger, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Of course.
Or 4, So
you can't
look at yourself first.
What to say to that? You can't figure out what to say to that. It's like people are like, well, if we're them and we're without money, let's see, if we had money, we might be like them. Well, what do we
if you had money, if you had money, you would be like them because then you would do what they did.
Yeah.
That's what it does. And this stupid fiat currency, the worst thing that ever happened was we invented money.
Yeah.
And made that our God. And I'm playing it plain and simple. Money is everybody's God. We can't do anything without money. I can live rather well without money, but I can't get the baubles that they give you because you need that fiat currency to get it. And,
we don't live in
I could go out in the woods and exist and live quite happily with no money.
We don't live in a trade barter society anymore.
Yeah. They took away trade and barter and gave us fiat currency and said that was better than what we had.
Well, it's just energy. Money's just energy.
Yeah.
You just have to know how to use the energy.
I'm trying to do good with nothing, so I'm working on it.
Well, I'm next near to nothing. But, we're constrained to do anything. If you're not,
the only thing that money would do for me is make me have more stuff and get bigger. And I'm doing that on my own with no money and going, no, I can do it without any money. It's hard, but it can be done. You just got to have the will to do it and keep at it. I mean, there have been many times since '87 I've stopped and just said, screw it for a while. I need a break. And then I come back harder again after I start back up. So
Well, I just don't see the progress like I want to on Facebook. Although we did start the Top Gun 25. Thanks for coming over to the group. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm trying to get more people.
We've got some action. You can see some action if you just study a little bit. I'm sure you're studying, you're looking. Well, there's some action going on. We've got some action going on with the Top Gun 25.
It might not be as big as you want, but it's a lot of times, I want stuff to change overnight, and it doesn't, but I stick
And I'm not
with
pushing
it.
hard. I'm not pushing too hard. I'm not pushing too hard.
And it grows. I mean, sometimes it has to grow in baby steps, and other times it takes off like a, rocket. But as long as you're seeing some progress, keep going. Any movement forward is a movement forward.
And my Facebook, I'm getting hooked on Facebook Live. Have you noticed?
Yeah, I've been sharing your posts, and
you've been
listening
to some
I've
of
been
my
listening
rants?
to a few. Yeah.
I get a brain fart.
Did you get the part in InfoWars that I sent you about MGTOW?
Yeah. Yeah, right up my alley. Yeah.
It was. That was pretty good. I was surprised I had to back it up, and I kept backing up. What did he say? Did he say what I thought he said?
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. It's like, it's not just me and you. Other people are looking at it the same way. So.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought I was the only one.
Yeah. It surprised me. I'm like, did he say what yep. He called, MGTOW. Oh, wow. Let me rewind this again. Let me send it to Kiler.
Well, I'm glad you did, brother, because I honestly was feeling kind of alone when I made that statement, all those statements about MGTOW. And I like David Johnson. I like him a lot, man. I really pissed him off on the show the other night. I know he hung up on us. But I like David, He's a good kid.
He seems like a good guy. I'm not, but like I said, your image is what people think of you, not what you're putting the stuff out there, and the way it looks to people, you got to take that into account too. You can't go, well, it's not that way. If everybody sees it that way, it's that way.
Well, they're going to have a good group. The whole thing is, they're successful as hell. They're successful as hell. Let's just say that right now. And that's because so many men have had so many bad, negative relationships with women. And they've had so many bad times with women, and they've joined MGTOW. And MGTOW is taking over the fucking world. And
it becomes an echo chamber. I had a bad time. And you find camaraderie in there of misery, and it just produces more misery. And
there is no.
I'm not against MGTOW. I'm just like I'm not against my ex. I'm not against my ex co-host, even though he slandered me because he had a brilliant mind. He was spot on in some of the analysis. It is just that he's a pure asshole. And what he did to me is, betrayed me and all the other stuff. No, that doesn't fly well. And, and then he had, but between him and his new co-host, they were the only ones at the demonstration, and he called it a big success. It's like you had nobody there, and you call it a big success.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. And other people that he challenged to bring people there, they brought people there, and he goes, oh, well. It's like, come on, dude. Your rhetoric sucks.
Yeah.
And all you amount to is Jew bashing.
Yeah.
And and people turn off that because when you go, well, it's all Jews all the time, it's not all Jews. And Zionists aren't really Jews. So saying it's the Jews. And then what about the Christian Zionists? We never talked about them because, we can't talk about them. Why? Because you're one of them? I mean, that's what it looks like. You look like a Christian Zionist. It's the Jews, and blame the Jews when you're just as responsible. And my roommate is Jewish. My roommate is Jewish, and I know for a fact he isn't part of the cabal. If he was, I would be sitting pretty.
Yeah, of course, we all would.
Yeah,
y'all could come over and pick me up. We'd all be sitting pretty. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, if he's part of this dark cabal and has all this money, he can barely pay rent. You know, I'm not against Jews. I have a lot of Jewish friends. I'm against the Zionists and I'm against the Rothschilds, but I don't go, well, it's all the Jews all the time. No, it's the Zionist Rothschilds.
Mm-hmm.
And well, don't say that. It's against our narrative. And don't talk about China. So, excuse me, the Bolsheviks went into Russia, and at the same time they went into China. They converted Imperial China into Chi-Com, the Communist Chinese. And, you know, but don't talk about the Chinese. They're not a threat. We only talk about the Russians. Why? Why can't we talk? If we're talking Bolsheviks, why aren't we talking about China too? Well, it goes against the narrative that they're pushing. I don't give a fuck about the narrative. I'm against the narrative. I'm for the facts. And the facts are, in 1919, they went into China. But to say, well, Alex Jones covers China, so we can't cover it, is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know? Alex Jones also says he breathes air. So am I against breathing air now?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
My mother was born in 1919. It's a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here we are almost in 2019.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah. I mean, I keep thinking, I'm like, oh, the 80s, that was only like 20 years. No, it wasn't. The 80s were only 20 years ago. Wait a minute. It's almost 40 years ago.
When we hit 2000, I thought that was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of strange.
Oh, well, when we hit 2012, you may as well say 2012 was the start of it all, because right around 2012, everything started going drastically forward and downhill. And, you know, and I don't believe the Mayans meant the end of the world. I think it was the end of their cycle. And yes, there were changes coming. And here we are now, and it's proof positive that there are changes coming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, after the show, I'm going to send you this, my notes. Man, these are something else. I'm looking at the what do you call it, footnotes at the bottom where all the stuff came from, all the sources and everything. It's got biorhythms in it. It's got geomagnetic waves. It talks about ELF waves from HAARP and targeted on certain areas. Can engineer weather. Talks about HAARP, frequency active auroral research program. Talks about the Schumann resonance program. Talks about Gwen towers.
Okay, Gwen towers. I got to comment on them right now, because everybody calls every fucking cell tower a Gwen tower now. The Gwen project
Engineering Emergency Network, Ground Wave Emergency Network.
Right. The Gwen Tower project was ceased. There were only supposed to be like 208 of them damn things. So every fucking tower is not a Gwen tower. Now, they might be Gwen enabled, and most of these things, because you got Stingray towers, you got drone towers, you got repeater towers, they're not all Gwen towers. The Gwen project was ceased. Why? Because they found out that they could put these on cell towers, and the 5G coming in is specifically for human control, because these towers can pump out energy, pump out radiation. It affects the body. And, you know, everybody, oh, it's a Gwen tower. No, the Gwen towers are like 290 feet tall. There is no way that every tower within, I mean, I've got at least 4 of them that I can see from my house right now, these towers. And they're all over the place, and they're made so that they can cover all the ground area. And then they spray the chemtrails on us. The smart dust gets in. These towers control the smart dust and nanobots and everything else. And they can pump out. They can make you feel pleasant. They can make you feel annoyed. They can they can manipulate you. And it's for manipulation for Jade Helm, not because of the Gwen project. Because, like I said, I've studied the Gwen project, and it ended. And all these towers were decommissioned. And so every tower is not a Gwen tower. Now, if somebody can show me where they said, okay, now we're terming every tower a Gwen tower, and this is why, I might accept it. But for what I've researched, Gwen towers were only 2 per state, so they can't all be Gwen towers if there were only 2 per state. And considering they only did like 48 of them, and then stopped the project, it kind of irks me. It's like everybody has a hammer, so everything's a nail now. You know. Well, I learned this term Gwen tower, so everything's a Gwen tower. They're not Gwen towers. They're might be Gwen enabled, but they're not Gwen towers. And I get really kind of. I ask people that, and they go, I don't know.
I talked to some of the retiring engineers on those Gwen towers, and they said that they're being altered by the National Security Agency and the CIA. So they're altering those, and they're building new ones as we speak.
Right.
And they're
like I
adding
said, the towers might be Gwen enabled, but they're not Gwen towers.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
They might be Gwen enabled, so calling them Gwen towers is a misnomer.
Kind of an old name.
Yeah, it's like no, because like I know they have repeater towers which repeat the signal. They have drone towers where the top of them are drones and can take off and fly around.
And then they have them all mixed together. They have those that are all mixed together with everything.
And then they have the drone power towers, which have an antenna up the top, and all the drone has to do is fly over it and induce energy from it and keep going. And so there's all kinds of towers, and the police use the Stingray towers that they're putting up everywhere to capture all the information.
Capture all your cell phone information.
So saying, oh, it's all Gwen towers, well, I have a hammer and everything's a nail now. You know, it's kind of a misnomer, and it's like, come on, people. And you don't know anything. This says that it's Gwen towers. It's like, no. This is the Gwen towers. It was stopped. Why was it stopped? Well, they can enable every tower with Gwen now, but that doesn't make them a Gwen tower because some of them are purely for telephone. Well, they're Gwen towers. Nah, not really.
I sent you a few hundred more friends.
Yeah, I've been seeing them coming up on the page and stuff. So and starting to share their stuff too. I appreciate
You've been sharing everything, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the hell out of it. You know, our little group is working. I mean, we're 6 hits, 7 hits, 8 hits, 10 hits, 12 hits. Our little 25 Top Gun team. People are looking anyway.
Yeah.
They're commenting some, and they know what we're doing. They don't have to talk a lot. They know what we're doing.
So like I said, don't get too downhearted because there is movement. It's just not. It might not be world shattering, but there is movement. So.
Yeah. We're going to get Phil to come down and do our SEOs and our Google Analytics for the prayer page and the mental health page and our website for APRI. And you and I should be back up on the main station in May. God, wait till May. But it's going to be May, I think, until we get back on the Superstation. That's going to be something to celebrate when we go back live on the Superstation. But
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm looking major forward to it because we can run news clips, we can run music, we can go live, live video, live audio. We can do anything over there, man. That's the board is super, man. The SAM board. I'll send you a copy of that SAM board. It is so cool, man. I'll let you get a look at it from the advertisement or the advertisement, however you want to put it. But I don't know. I don't know where we're headed. I just know that we're going to keep on keeping on, and I get depressed, about Facebook. I see, like you do, when you get up in the morning, you see that right column over there, the same fucking names in that right column. Every now and then I get to looking at that, and it just, I don't know, just kind of gives me an irky feeling. And then I say, well, those are my friends, and they're people that share my stuff, and we're going to be okay. We're going to make it. But it is depressing sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's some mornings I wake up and I look at it and say screw this and go do something else because I don't feel like messing with it today. And other times I've got to be on there sharing stuff because that's the only way it's going to get done. So.
And if you'll notice, I write a lot. I don't post a lot.
Well, I started out on my blog. I mean, when I first started my blog, that was my Fed book. You know, I posted everything on it, and then I found FedBook and started getting hooked on that. And
Yeah, hooked
but
is
I still
right.
do my blog, and
My blog was very popular. I've dropped off on it. I need to get back on it. It was very popular. But,
well, I know this year my blog is very popular. I'm almost halfway. I'm over halfway to my least read year already. And here it is, only March.
I think I had
I've
like
always done.
12,000 hits or something. That's not very much, but I think that's what I had on mine. Well,
But it's looking like this year is going to be my most read year yet, so it's looking pretty good.
I like your colors on your site. They're a little bright, a little red.
Yeah, I did that for, warning.
Damn.
Red's always warning. I
On
changed
fire.
it and people were like, why'd you change it? Change it back. Okay. So I do listen to sometimes I listen to people that comment.
Sure.
And,
I do too.
because they come by and, oh, well, you can do this better. Oh, okay. I take constructive criticism, but most of the people are just asses, and it's like, whatever. But there are those ones that I read, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, let me change this or do that differently. And
I like the way you laid that out over there. It's really professional. I mean, it's crammed full of information.
Yeah, and people, it's like, unless you read it, you might come in and just read an article and go, and run away. But if you actually take time to look at what I've got there, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of ground covered on there that I've been doing for what now? Well, my blog just turned 9 years old on this site, and I had it 3 or 4 years before that on Yahoo 360. So a lot of people came from Yahoo 360 over to my new site. And I've got the stuff from the Yahoo 360 as PDFs on there. The first, 3 or 4 years is all PDF on my site. So everybody can read from the beginning till now.
I just sent you 2 PDFs. I didn't know it was going to come up that way, but I just sent you in private messaging those 2 PDFs on the Jade Helm program. I'm hoping you're going to be able to make sense out of that. I'm looking at them now to see if I can expand them on my computer. It just shows up 2 puny little PDFs. You can make that big, right? You can.
Yeah, I can
pull
read
them out.
PDFs and stuff.
You can pull them out. Yeah. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting late, and I've got a really banger of a headache going on here, even though I've taken some Tylenol. I want to encourage all of you to go over to the Prayer Science International page. It's popping, man. 147 hits over there as of just a while ago. I want to encourage you to go over to Mental Health Connection, Northwest Mental Health Connection. That page is popping with some of our local people, believe it or not, from the board is out there. I want to encourage you to go over to Glenn Sutphin's pages and check him out. I'll have him posted tonight on my page, and you can find it there, my co-host. And we are Alternative Public Radio International, a 24-hour station in the cloud. We will be back up and running by May. Boy, I hate to wait that long. I so miss the 24-hour station. It was just such home. And I'm sure our 26 countries are missing us out there, too. Everybody's asking me, where'd you go? It's blank over there. Everybody's asking me what happened. They go over there, and it's just like zzz noise. So anyway, thanks, Glenn. And let's come back on Thursday night and try to do it again, or Sunday night. I hope you get better. I hope you're not going to have another seizure.
Yeah, I hope so too. Sometimes I hit it and it's like a cluster of them, and I have a bunch of them, and then other times I can go for a month without having one.
And ladies and gentlemen, you take care. I'll be on Facebook Live here in a little while ranting. So everybody out there, take care and tune back in. And remember, don't be looking for us over there at APRI. We won't be back until May. Look for us on TalkShoe.com. You can find us over there. Just Google Kiler Davenport, and you will find us. So, Glenn, I'll see you later, bud.
All right, mate.
All right, bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.